Hello, everyone, and welcome again to a new edition of Jonesin' for Wins. Today, we are a little bit less enthusiastic. I don't think Jonathan today can say everything's good, relax, we're going to get through this because, well, it's over. Cowboys visited the 49ers. They took a loss, 12-19. Some people say it was expected. I don't think anybody really expected the score to be that low. But we're going to talk about that. We'll give out our Glory Hole Award. We'll go through some different numbers. We'll talk about things. We've got some interesting questions to discuss. And, well, let's start. Jonathan, what'd you think of the game? What are your thoughts?
Pathetic, 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 pathetic.
So,
We
what
don't
did you
have a
think?
we don't have a guy. We don't have a guy. Like I thought Micah Parsons was a guy. He's not a guy. He's just a player. We don't have a guy. We don't have somebody that's gonna greet. We don't have not Trayvon Diggs. What's his name?
Stefan.
Stephon Diggs, who's going to go and yell at the quarterback when he makes a bad pass. We don't have a guy. When's the last time somebody's got mad enough that they slammed a helmet down on our team? We don't. We have guys who throw the ball, go to throw trash away, and then get up and pick it up because it doesn't go in
Hold
the
on.
trash can. That's the kind of people we
I
have.
did hear that Dak threw his helmet down at the ground. The only problem is it didn't get there because it was intercepted before it hit the ground. So
Funny.
there's that.
But we don't have.
Come on.
We don't have anything. So I think Micah Parsons is a very good player.
Yes.
But when it comes time to make a play, like when we desperately need a play, doesn't make it. Trayvon Diggs, who last year intercepted a lot of passes, this year, if it hits him in the stomach, he's going to drop it. When we needed it, we
had
needed
that ball.
that
That
pick.
ball was in his hand.
He needed that pick.
It
He
was
didn't come
in
up with
his
it.
hands and out.
Last year, or I feel like if he was a guy, if Trayvon Diggs was a guy, when Kittle's juggling that ball, he would have taken it away from him. He didn't have to deliver a big knockout blow. That ball was still in the air. He could have reached in and snatched it out of his hands, but he didn't do it. If the roles had been reversed and that had been Dalton Schultz that was juggling the ball like that, they would have either A, intercepted it, or B, hit him and he would have fumbled it. He would
We
have
should
somehow
have talked
caught it.
about our
And fumbled it.
talking points because
Oh man,
that's a conversation I have. I have George Kittle
we can go
catch.
into it.
If it was the Cowboys, Diggs was right there, and
Yeah.
and I mean not for nothing. Diggs didn't have a shot at it. Diggs was going for the hit, but I feel
We,
like
we
if it was the exact opposite, you're right. That ball would have, and it's happened to us with a tight end. When Hendershot had the ball in his hands, he damn near tossed it to the defender
yeah,
to take
yeah.
and return.
And we can get into Schultz and the last two plays of the game with him in a little bit.
Oh, we will.
But we don't have a guy. When we need a play to happen, when we need a clean blocking moment, we're going to get a false start or a holding. If we hand the ball off to somebody, maybe he's a guy, maybe Tony Pollard was a guy, but then he breaks his leg and he's out. Our kicking guy isn't a guy. Our return man who ran into our own guy right into the back of the kicker. He let the kicker tackle him with his back. He let the kicker tackle him with his back. He's not a guy. We don't have one. CeeDee Lamb is close, but he doesn't get mad. And who would know if he was mad because he keeps his mouth covered the whole game. So you have no idea what's going on in there. But he's almost a guy. But we don't have one. DeMarcus Lawrence should be raging mad. He should come over and yell at the offense. He should yell at the defense when they're missing tackles, when they're letting San Francisco just run the ball straight down their throat, when they're not able, when they cannot put their hand on a ball, when they can't sack a quarterback. How many batted balls were in the air that no one came up with for the Cowboys? We batted Purdy's balls a lot, and no one came down with any of them.
Purdy
They
did
just
have
let
some
them bounce
around his balls.
Well, yeah, and we didn't do anything with it though. Like we don't have a guy. We don't have a coach who's a guy, and I don't know if it's because we're such a whitewashed team. We're like NBC, so we can't let a guy get on and start yelling and ranting and raving. You know how like on podcasts you can say whatever and you don't have to like filter it all, but if you're on network television,
I didn't know that.
you do.
So you just
I feel like
during
the Dallas Cowboys are network television. They're network television. They're clean. You can't get too angry here. You can't do too much there. You can't do that. You're a Dallas Cowboy now. You got a certain image to uphold. All this garbage. We need a guy.
We've talked about just that actually, about how there's been times where if we were a coach or if we were in the game, we'd be throwing stuff. There's times where I swear if I were the coach, I'd be thrown out, and I could be the coach in a Pee Wee league, and some of this stuff happened, and I'd be thrown out. Like there are times where it is infuriating, and any of our coaches in the past, anywhere, they
I wonder.
just sit there and they just smile or they clap or they give that
I wonder if they're
stupid
like,
face, but they don't get mad. They don't sit there, take over, start screaming at the ref till the ref throws a flag. I'm okay. I coached youth football, and I told the kids, I'm okay if once in a while we get a personal foul, and it's got to happen sometimes. You have feelings, you have emotions, you have things that come out, and it's a physical game. We don't even really get into fights, do we? Like we don't
no,
have much of anything.
no.
It is sad, but there's a lack of emotion on the team. There's a lack of feeling on the team.
There's
I don't know
no
if it's a
emotion.
lack of a guy so much as just almost what you were saying before. It's almost like there's no.
So 2 or 3 weeks ago, when Dak threw that pick six to start the game, was that against the Eagles? And then he came back and dominated the game after that.
I don't remember what it was. I think it was
But
the Eagles.
but he's walking up and down the sidelines yelling at them, we got this, like I'm good, it's okay, no big deal, like I got this. This time he throws a pick and he jogs off the field and it looks like his shoulder pads are too big for him and they're like
You
bouncing
could
and he
see
just
the
kind
whole
of goes
team was deflated.
yeah, but he didn't get up and say we're going to do this, we're going to win. And people make a big deal about Brady breaking all these Surface tablets by Microsoft.
Yeah.
I wish we broke one this year. I would have been happy if we could have broke one. We didn't break any.
Break the stylus to it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. No, we don't have much emotion in the game. It seems like, and
How many
afterwards,
challenge flags did we throw this year? One?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I will say I get tired of hearing. I appreciate Dak for his humbleness and his accepting of blame and all that stuff. But at some point, like I want to see something change in it because I've always told my kids when they're growing up, I tell them, look, I get that you're sorry. That's great, but it doesn't mean anything if you're just going to keep doing it. Stop doing it. Find a way to stop doing it. We didn't do that with anything. I don't feel.
My mom used to say, if you have to say you're sorry, it means you're too late.
I
So
like that.
yeah, it's kind of. I hated it, but
Well, I'm sure you
my
did as a kid. As a parent, I'm
my
kind of like,
parents-
oh, that's kind of cool.
But so I get the like wanting to move on from Dak too. People wanting to move on from Dak, but I think we should wait and see what happens with the Raiders this year because Derek Carr and him are the same guy, or David Carr. Which Carr is it?
It's Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Was Houston.
They're both leaders. They both have terrible offensive lines. They both have one receiver. They both make great plays. They both throw interceptions. Like they're the same guy. And so we'll see if the Raiders can find somebody to replace him. Like what would the Cowboys do if
Let's
there's
jump
not a
on
lot of
offensive line for a second. You hated Tyler
He's
Smith.
72nd out of 74 tackles
I hear you,
pass blocking.
but
There's
here's
two
the
players in
problem.
the
He's a
NFL
rookie
worse.
who has played more positions than any rookie should really play on an offensive line. And honestly, I think he's done well for what he's had to make adjustments to. He's not a guy who's been around the league for a long time. He's not a guy that's played left tackle, left guard, right guard. And that's not easy because each of those positions and each of those sides are different. It's not easy to go from left side to right side, let alone guard to tackle.
He's been on the left side the whole time. He played left tackle and left guard.
I thought
When
he
did he
played
play right
side
guard?
too. I thought he played right guard too.
In preseason he was the right tackle until Tyron Smith got hurt, and then they moved him to left tackle, and he never.
Right, but he was
left.
right.
But yeah, I mean, for a rookie, I think he will be good. I think he will be good someday,
Right.
but he's not good right now.
Well, yeah.
He's not.
He wasn't supposed to start right away. That wasn't the plan.
There's two tackles in the NFL that are worse than him. Two. That's it. Two.
Well, listen, I'm going to start. We're going to do a position thing in a little bit here. It'll be simple. I just want to get the numbers out. I always give the numbers out. It's the last game that we're going to be doing this year, so I'm going to give out the numbers. We'll talk about those, but I do one of the questions I want to ask you is in the draft with our first round pick, so you can think about it for a little bit. What do you want to pick as our first round pick? So that's where we're at. Not who, I don't care who at this point, but more like what position do you think we're most in need of for a first round pick? But the numbers: Dak, 23 of 37, 206 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 51.5. Zeke, which I said Zeke was going to have a good game. He didn't do any of close to what I said he was going to do. He was 10 of 26, 2.6 average, 0 touchdowns. Dak, 4 of 22. Now, this is one place I will say. So at one point in the game, I believe it was even in the second half of the game, Dak was the leading rusher. Like, we did good on defense against the run. We did better. Towards the end of the game, I think we'd lost that touch. But how is our quarterback? And he's a running quarterback, but he's not half these other.
He's not
guys.
a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who runs, but he's not a
right. Exactly. Thank you. So Pollard was 6 for 22 yards, 3.7 average. We didn't run against him even well with Pollard. Like, Pollard didn't even really take advantage. It didn't really go out on this one. Lamb played well. 10 for 117 yards, 0 touchdowns. Now, the first interception Dak threw, that one was totally on Gallup, who had 0 receptions during this game, but several targets. And that bugged me because he was there. He did not move forward. He put his arm like this, felt the defender come forward, did not move forward on the ball. The defender grabbed the ball like 2 yards in front of Gallup. Gallup could have stepped up into that ball.
He's my second least favorite Cowboy. I can't even talk about him right now.
The second interception was thrown to Lamb into double coverage, and Lamb didn't really have a great shot at that ball. I mean, it got tipped by the defender in front of him, and the defender coming in from his left side actually got the tip off of it for the interception. But it was a terrible decision. I was annoyed with that. He should have had another. I didn't break my TV at that point. Like, I was really surprised I still had a TV after that one.
With 3 minutes and 48 seconds left, you almost had another one. Should have had a pick six.
Yep. So Schultz was 5 for 27, 1 touchdown. Brown was 2 for 21 yards, 0 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton, why did we bring him in? Like, we brought him in for like 1 reception this year. I mean, well, he had one there for 15 yards, but that 50-yard reception is really, why did we bring him in? What did we need him for at this point?
To win that one game.
Yeah, pretty much. Pollard had 2 receptions, 11 yards, and so on and so forth. It's boring after that. We're into single digits. Defensively, Bland and Vander Esch had good games.
Yeah.
I mean, Vander Esch, we talked about before. He's a guy, I like him. He does his job. He's consistent about it. And when he's not there, he's missed. Osa had a good game. 1 of 2 sacks along with Lawrence. 0 interceptions. Just that one that went in and out of Diggs' hand. A ball here, Diggs here.
It was a ball here. Diggs here. I'll come through here off his chest.
I know it is. It's annoying. And listen, a lot of I was a defensive back when I played, and defensive backs, why didn't he catch the ball? That's why he's a defensive back. I get it, but he's a guy I expect to catch the ball. He just is.
But they always
expect him to catch the ball.
Skills. If he's not going to tackle, the least he can do is intercept the ball, and he's not going to tackle.
So 0 interceptions. Turpin had a good day as far as returns. He averaged 30 yards. He had the 44-yard return.
Yeah.
So I think him and those defenders that I just talked about are pretty much all I was happy with in this game.
CeeDee Lamb. I was happy with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I did mention CeeDee Lamb as having a good day. I was happy with CeeDee as well. I've been happy with CeeDee a lot lately.
Me too.
I think this team needs to. All right. So here we go. As I mentioned, first round. Let's take the first 2 rounds. What possessions are you filling? Are
we done talking about the game? Or
do you want to talk about the game? We can talk about the game. Go ahead.
Just a couple things. I just want to talk about how When we needed to stop them, we didn't. That George Kittle pass play happened. They matriculated their way down the field. The two things I'm most disappointed in, more than Dak's interceptions, the two things I'm most disappointed in. One, when we got the ball back with about 3 minutes left, I was thinking, this is Dak's chance.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. I agree, because I know where you're going with this. Okay, go ahead.
This is Dak's chance.
Yep.
His first pass, almost intercepted, a gift.
Yep.
Now it's second down. And I'm thinking, okay, shake that off, prove the doubters wrong, go down there, score a touchdown, go for 2.
Yep.
Actually, there's 3 things I hate.
They were going for 2. They said they were going to go for 2 when they got down there.
And we go 3 and out. How do you go 3 and out at that point of the game?
How do you go out at that point of the game? Go 4 and out.
Disappointing. Yeah, exactly. Like,
you're going to punt that ball away. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm taking over. And
Go for it.
But why are we not? So we should have called that 4 down territory and planned on 3rd down to get some yardage. And we didn't.
I mean, everybody was surprised we didn't go for it. That's why the punt team came out so late.
Suck at setting up 4th. And this is a coaching issue for me. And it includes the little boy. It's a coaching issue for me. And I get annoyed by it because you're in 4 down territory right now. You are. I don't care. You're in 4 down territory. So you need to do something to set up 4th down instead of 4th and 10. And when Mike McCarthy was asked at the end, why did you punt? Down in distance. Well, yeah, because you left yourself with 10 yards to go. You did nothing to prepare for that.
But he looked taken aback because this team was staying out there, the offense was staying out there, and then he started yelling, punt, and then it took our punt team forever to get out there.
Yep.
Olsen was all over it saying, we just keep wasting. Why are they wasting so much time? Why did it take them 30 seconds to punt this ball? Like,
could have called a timeout.
Should have called a timeout. This is a disaster. Like, that whole thing was a disaster. One thing that I forgot.
Sorry, go ahead.
That missed extra point at the very beginning of the game, I think, totally screwed up our whole team. I think it deflated everybody, and it changed the way that we called the game from there on out.
I'm not arguing with that. That was
So there were 3 things I hated. I hated that missed extra point. Hated it. I wanted him to walk off of there immediately, start being waterboarded, and shipped home.
Yeah. Wherever home might be.
That terrible next to the last drive. And then the third thing I absolutely hated was, talk about no energy, no emotion. Dalton Schultz catching that pass and then going out of bounds backwards so they keep the clock running.
You know why he went backwards, right?
Because he got hit.
Straight up. He was standing straight up. He didn't even put any energy into getting out. He stood straight up. He got popped and backed in. Or backed out, actually.
I was so mad at him in that moment, and he just jogging back like, and then if that wasn't enough, then he catches the ball and doesn't drag his foot. And I texted you immediately. I was like, I don't think that's a catch.
I didn't.
And then they're like, I think that this is going to go under review. Of course, it's going to go under review.
Right.
He so nonchalant, like that was infuriating. And then to see that final play. What was that garbage?
The final play I have written down, yes. So here's my deal with the final play. All right, so let's talk about this final play. If you're going to do a stupid play, which, by the way, I would have called that as a teaching moment in Pee Wee football, just because I wanted to teach the kids about how you can do different formations, how many guys have to be on the line, how many, what you can do, because it can be fun. This is professional. Don't do it. But if you're going to do it, let's do this. Let's get in the huddle. Let's call the play. Then we break quick, get out into our positions. Emmett, you get up there to the center, and you snap the freaking football. They sat there in that formation, letting San Fran look around, not knowing what. The commentators had time to talk about who's center, who's doing this, who's doing that. Don't do that. Get up there, get in place, and snap the ball. Because now you've got linemen against all. We had 1 lineman on the field. The minute that San Francisco calls a timeout, scrap the play.
Yeah.
Go to a normal play and let's see what we can do. Because that was stupid. That was embarrassing.
But also, if you're gonna run that play. Like, Why did we throw it right to the middle where we had no blocker?
So, by the way,
Like,
Emmett does not belong on a line because you watched him almost block.
his name's not Emmett. You've called him Emmett
I'm
twice,
sorry,
but
Emmett. Yeah, I'm sorry, Zeke. Zeke
um,
went to wow, that is bad because they're not the same.
so I feel like when they set that play up, I was a little excited at first, thinking they thought of something. They thought of something,
They could have thought of something
but they
had they
didn't
just
because
gotten up there,
they,
run the play.
but it still wouldn't have worked because they would have thrown a crossing pattern in the middle of the field. I'm thinking a guy's going to drop back and you're going to have this whole huge line blocking him, and you're going to throw a screen pass over there, and then he's going to throw it back, and you're going to have these two like wedges moving up the field. No, we're going to throw it right in the middle where we have no one except one player. That I just that did it work in practice?
I don't know, but if you do that formation and the defense goes out the way the defense, so the defense is typically up on the line before the offense goes out. So you break huddle and you go out to that, you're in decent shape.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't care who gets through Emmett or not Emmett. Wow, I did it again, Zeke. I don't care who gets by him. I'm throwing a quick. He can't pass to him because he's ineligible because he's the center in that line in that situation. But you can lateral to him and you can do things from there. So I don't care about a lot of that. So you're not having all these guys out there on defense, and if you do, they're linemen. So I don't care.
Yeah.
That's why you get up there, you snap the ball, and you run the play. We
Was,
didn't
was
do
there
that.
a part? Was there a part of you that thought he's going to blow this snap? I thought the snap was going to go over Dak's head for sure.
I honestly expected him to turn sideways like you did when you were a kid.
Yeah. I wondered if he was embarrassed, Zeke. If he was like, I can't believe we're doing.
I wonder if all of them were embarrassed. Like, I was embarrassed.
I feel like the clumps maybe not, because you didn't really know who was in the clumps. But Zeke, you definitely knew he was sitting there.
And Dak was there.
Mm-hmm.
But Zeke had to be announced as ineligible.
So those are the only three things that I really wanted to talk about in the game. The missed extra point, the series with 3 minutes left that could have cemented Dak as a legend and didn't, and the Dalton Schultz playing like a baby, and then them running that baby play at the end. Like, it was like toddlers took over for that last series.
Yeah.
They're like, bring your kids to work day.
While we're here, let's do this. Let's just finish the game off. Let's give the Glory Hole Award out.
Oh, man. So, obviously, after we scored our first touchdown, you know who I wanted to give it to, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Maher.
Yeah.
Because he ruined the whole game. I really feel like he ruined the entire game.
I agree with you. It did change things. We were going for it on fourth when we didn't need to. We could have kicked a field goal and moved on, but we had to. But go ahead.
Then Dak threw that interception, and I know Gallup should have done something, and he didn't, but I still was like, I don't ever want to see Dak throw to the sidelines again.
I wanted Gallup in the glory hole at that point.
So then I wanted Dak in the glory hole. And then Gallup did nothing the entire game, so then I wanted him in the glory hole just because I hate that guy. Then Diggs dropped that interception, and I was like, I'd really like to stick him in there. I don't know if he even had a tackle.
That's kind of creepy.
But I think, honestly, I got to get it to McCarthy one more time. Like, I feel like that guy, either in my vote, if I have a vote, it's either McCarthy or Maher. Those would be my first verse. My second verse vote would be Dak. So those guys tie for first, and Dak is second.
All right, so Dak played horribly. He played terrible. Like, he didn't learn anything when we stuck him in the glory hole last time.
Right.
Came out real strong, but he finished terrible. So I was all about Dak. And I was convinced it was going to be Dak until – and listen, there's a lot that went wrong in this game, and a lot of it was coaching. But I was still stuck on – I was just pissed off. Like, this – again, I'm tired of hearing how it's going to change I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna still throw 2 interceptions in the game.
Yeah.
And there's a stat out there that says how many times Dak loses when he throws 2 interceptions in a game. We actually have a stat on that because it's happened
I
6 times.
I bet
But
there's stats on that for almost every quarterback.
oh,
Right?
I'm sure there is, but like,
I bet they don't.
but
I
it's
bet they don't
happened
win.
so often that it's actually like a full blown. Let's give out the stat. So, anyways,
Bet they don't.
I was putting Dak in the box in the glory hole for the entire game right up until the end there. I actually came close to, like, Schultz was going in, and then it happened. Then we lined up for that last play, and even then I wasn't really ticked as long as we snapped the damn ball. I think my biggest problem is McCarthy's time management
Oh,
on all of it. The players don't seem to get it. I was ticked that Schultz can't put a shoulder down to actually go out of bounds the right way, because by now we're in the postseason. You should know that if you get hit and you go backwards out of bounds, it's not stopping the clock. So definitely don't come prancing back. Like, the clock didn't stop. So yeah, I got mad, and then I started looking.
Isn't it
I
weird
started
that
thinking more and more about time management, and then we sit there in that formation, that stupid freaking formation, and don't snap the ball. We're just waiting for San Fran to call a timeout. I think that's what he was doing. Let's see if they're going to call a timeout. They're going to waste one on us? Like, what are you doing? Sorry.
And isn't it interesting that 2 years in a row we lost to San Francisco because of time, not because of time management,
Right.
but time management
Yeah.
ended the game for us.
I am with you on the coach. I'm annoyed with Dak. I'm very annoyed with Dak, but I do think that that's going to fix next year. They better play him in the preseason, which, by the way, goes back to coaching. We didn't play him in the preseason. That's annoying, but yeah.
I actually have another vote.
Uh-oh.
One other person that I want to bring up, and it's the person that created the glory hole in the first place, Jerry Jones.
So you are correct. He is definite candidate.
I feel like he deserves it. He didn't get it all year.
I'm holding on. I'd stay with. I would stay with McCarthy for now. And the only reason I think Jerry needs.
Who hired McCarthy?
No, I'm with you there. I'm 100% with you. But what I'm holding out for is, does Jerry make a change? Does Jerry say, I'm going to make a change? And if he doesn't, then I think he's an idiot. But Jerry's only got a limited amount of time. He doesn't have, not for nothing, but he's what, 78?
Can we say this?
How old is Jerry?
Glory hole? Can we hold off on distributing this glory hole until we see if McCarthy gets fired or not?
That's what I'm saying. So let's put McCarthy in there and see what happens. And then.
But we can change it.
Yes.
We can change it.
We reserve the right to change to. Yes, I agree. I'm in. Not in the glory hole, but I'm with you on that. So I did take a look, by the way, at Dak and a very, very popular, very superstarish quarterback. And we'll go more into these numbers deeper during the offseason. But everybody is all about, and you even said you can see why people want to move on from Dak. I don't want to, because I've watched so many teams try and find even just a good quarterback. And I think Dak is a much better than good quarterback who is just, there's some pieces missing, sure. But he's better than okay. He's better than good. And he can be better still. But there's another quarterback out there who has similar numbers, including in this game, who is elite, who is one of the top picks in the entire NFL. Josh Allen. Josh Allen this week went 25 for 42 compared to Dak 23 for 37. He had 265 yards to Dak's 206 yards. He had 0 touchdowns to Dak's 1 interception to Dak's 2, and a QBR of 57.3 to Dak's 51.5. And quite honestly, those are similar numbers throughout the entire
Josh Allen
career.
Can't do it on his own. Josh can't do it on his own.
No, he can't.
No, Josh, you're mixing apples and oranges here, because Dak needs to be able to do it on his own, but Josh Allen, he can't carry the team on his own.
It's funny you do
And
this.
his receivers stick up for Josh Allen. Like his receivers have his back. They would never start screaming at him in the middle of the game saying, "Throw me an effing pass that I can catch." No way would his receivers do that. They've all got his back. They think he's amazing. So I don't understand why you're trying to put everything on Josh Allen. Dak's the one who needs to carry it all. He needs to take the whole burden for the team because it's his fault. But Josh Allen, it's not his fault. I mean,
But you're arguing the way people argue.
I know.
It drives me nuts to have this conversation, and I get it, but numbers are numbers, and quite honestly, their numbers throughout their entire career are very similar.
But
their numbers
Josh Allen's
throughout
different.
their career are very, very similar.
You can't measure Josh Allen on numbers. What he brings to a team, numbers can't define those things.
So Dak's how many years over Josh Allen in the league? 2 or 3?
Oh, 2, I would guess.
Let's say 2. We'll go on the soft side. I think it is 2. So how many more interceptions has Dak thrown than Josh Allen?
In 2 years? But Dak throws
in
2 interceptions.
In those extra 2 years.
Dak throws 2 interceptions every game. So I'm going to say like 64. 64.
No, seriously, how many more interceptions do you think Dak has thrown?
I don't think Dak throws a lot of interceptions except this year. I think Josh Allen is pretty turnover heavy. So I'm going to say in 2 years, I'm going to say he's thrown 8 more.
5. 5 more interceptions with an extra 2 years.
But Dak's always hurt, Craig.
Yes, and he's still played more games than Josh Allen. So, it's funny because all of their stats are very similar. And quite honestly, they both lead their team. And people will still argue that Josh Allen is, and I wouldn't even mind if they said Josh Allen is better than Dak. Dak is, not quite the same level. But they're not even putting, like, Josh Allen's here, and Dak is here. I mean, Dak should be out of the league. Any team that starts a new football team is taking Josh Allen because he's that damn good. Why? They're the same damn quarterback. There is not a whole lot of difference. There is this much, not even this much difference between the two in stats, and stats do count. That's why we keep them.
Yeah, I think there's Josh Allen, and then Patrick Mahomes, 1A, 1B, and then way down the list, then we could have Herbert, and then Burrow, and then way down the list, even further. No, I'm just saying that's how people. Well,
I know, but you're missing one. You're missing one key one who was
Lamar
nobody
Jackson.
Last year.
Lamar Jackson is in it. Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah. Well, we forgot about him, but you also forgot about.
Let me start over. So it is. One is Josh Allen, 1A, 1B, Patrick Mahomes, interchangeable. They're the same.
Exactly.
Player.
Yep. They're one. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
I mean, yes, Patrick Mahomes probably has 20,000 more yards than him and probably 10 touchdowns more than him in games played, but they're 1A, 1B. Then I would say Lamar Jackson is 2A and Jalen Hurts is 2B.
There you go.
Then Justin Herbert is 3A and Joe Burrow's 3B.
Right. And honestly, I think Joe Burrow is a whole lot better than everyone except for Patrick Mahomes that you listed on the list.
I think, if I was going to actually do a 1A, 1B, it would be Patrick Mahomes, 1A, Joe Burrow, 2.
Yep.
There would
exactly.
be
I agree. It would be 2. It wouldn't be 1B. It would be 2.
Yeah.
But it'd be a damn close 2, but not a 1A or a 1B scenario. No, I agree. And it just it kills me when I look at those things because it frustrates me.
I mean, people are talking about the Giants finding gold with Daniel Jones.
Well, they've decided, both of them have decided they were keeping each other. And quite honestly, I believe it was Gable said he wasn't even, or Dable, I keep calling him Gable too. Dable said he wasn't even convinced he was going to keep him after the game.
Yeah.
Now both the team and him have decided they're going to find a way of moving forward together. What was I looking for? Oh, I did ask you. I wanted to find out. So I brought it up before. You're now the GM of the Cowboys for round 1 and 2. I don't care who the player is. What positions are you picking?
Offensive line,
Where?
tackle.
I'd go center, I think. I don't know.
I like Biotish.
I like Biotish too, but all right.
We don't have a right tackle.
We
Is
don't have a right
Tyron?
tackle. You are correct.
I would rather have Tyron
I agree
Smith.
with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. And I do like Biotish, but yes, go ahead. So there's one. That's your first round. What's your second round?
Well, our second round picks are always a bust, but
No,
I
you're changing that. You're
okay. Then I'm going after a receiver or tight end. Probably a receiver though.
I think I'm going defensive tackle.
Yeah. I just they take so long to become good.
Yeah.
I'd rather just find one in free agency.
It would be nice if we could. And I think that's one thing that I bought that like I think Jerry Jones, I do believe, has done decent in the draft. I know you and I disagree on that a lot, but I mean, this year's rookie class did well for us.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing he doesn't do is go after free agents, and it bugs
Yeah.
me because there are pieces we could fill there, and I swear he just wants to be the Green Bay Packers. Who, what did they do again? Yeah, like I think he just wants to
Oh,
be the Green Bay Packers, and it's not working for us, and it's not working for the Green Bay Packers anymore either.
yeah. So I think he does okay in the draft, but I think he's a terrible talent evaluator of wide receivers, and he is terrible at defensive tackles. I when have we drafted a defensive tackle that
Yeah, I
we're
know.
like,
I'm with you.
we got that guy.
But that's
He's
where you can
really good
use
at
free agency and say, hey, you know what? There's a
he's good at
defensive tackle available. Let's take him.
he's great at offensive linemen. He is. He's a very good at offensive linemen. He's very good at running backs. He's pretty good at linebackers. He's
And
very
DBs
good
are,
at defensive
yeah,
ends.
and defensive
DBs,
backs.
yes,
I mean, right now,
yes,
our,
yes.
our
I know we had two
backfield, huh?
injuries. We have two injuries in the
Correct.
defensive back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And our rookies filled in well for him.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know. And you know who else actually, surprisingly, and I'm going back to the game for one more second. You know who else who surprised me this week? Actually made me happy. First time I've seen him on the field that I was happy. Probably you two.
Who?
Joseph.
Oh yeah, when he made that guy fumble. Yeah.
Yeah. I was quite I was like, wow. The guy did something.
Yeah. Man. So going back to the game, if we are, I would have given $1,000 for Wilson to be Diggs when he was juggling that ball, because Wilson would have destroyed Kittle.
Yeah. That would
Because
have
right at
he
the
would have been.
beginning of the game,
But you know what
when
though?
he hit
We would have gotten a
McCaffrey,
penalty for defenseless receiver at that point.
he destroyed McCaffrey right at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, but I would rather have that. I would have rather Kittle be laying on the ground
You know what?
writhing
You
than
would
a
have
penalty.
you would have been but at the time I know I would have gotten a text that said penalties in capital letters. I know it
Yeah.
would be. I
But
get it.
instead, it was
I
we
know.
lost.
Right, but it would have contributed to the loss more. It just would have. Well, you know what? We would have actually had more time because the penalty would have moved it up 15 yards and stopped the clock. Yeah, I don't know. I look at things. I mean, it's been a frustrating year. It hasn't even been. It's been a frustrating year because we've been up and down, and
I
it's
was more
been.
frustrated last year,
What's
honestly.
that?
I was more frustrated last year.
Well, yeah,
I think it's
I
because we
don't
had
know.
home field, bye week, everything was set up, and this year at least we won a playoff game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I think the more we move forward, though, the bigger the drop when you fall.
yeah.
Like,
Here, I have a question. If you could make one change, so you're the owner, you're not even the. So Jerry Jones is off the table for your one change.
okay,
You're
well,
the owner.
that would have been a big change.
You're the owner.
Yep.
You get to make one change. Is it a player? Is it a coach? And if so, who is it?
I mean, it's kind of unfair to say who is it because I would definitely look at coaches. I would look at Sean Payton as a coach, but I'd also want to look at like Lincoln Riley. I want to take a look at a few different coaches, but it would be a coach for me, and I would.
What? No. I'm saying who on the Cowboys would you change out? Who'd you get
Oh,
rid of?
it would
Cowboys.
be. I'd be getting rid of. Well, so we're gonna lose the kid, which I'm okay with. He's interviewing. I don't know if he's gonna go. I think
He's not going
honestly,
to get a job. He's not getting a job.
there are so many people that are pushing for these young kids they think are wizards to run their
Wizards.
team. Wizards. Yep, it's Harry Potter.
I thought Wiz, WHIZ. I thought that's what they said when they said Whiz Kids, but maybe it is Wizard Kids. I didn't know.
So
I'm not into fantasy, so I don't know.
yeah, well, you're obviously more into it than me. Anyways, all these kids that they want in there running it, I bet he does get. I think he gets one, and I'm actually okay with him leaving. Dan Quinn, I think wants to stay. I don't think Dan Quinn. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Dan Quinn wants to be a head coach anymore. He hasn't ever really pushed to go. Last year there was options for him. He didn't even really. I don't even think he interviewed, did he?
I don't know.
So he's staying, in my opinion. But I would want to get someone in there and get rid of McCarthy. That is what I'd want to do.
So out of all players, out of all things, McCarthy would be your change. You'd keep Maher. You'd keep.
Do I have to keep? I mean, I can only make one change as the owner.
Yes.
I can't do
Nope.
anything else. So
Nope.
I am going to.
Change.
I am going to. You know what I do? I would bring in a GM.
Okay.
That would be my one change. A GM who can make decisions to get rid of players and coaches.
Okay.
I call that winning.
So that's like you're like the guy who's like, you only get 3 wishes, and your first wish is I wish for more wishes. You're that guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
You run the game by doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. I would get rid of the little boy. We need a new offensive coordinator.
I
Does
agree.
Dak has he had a different offensive coordinator? Maybe his first year,
His first year he did because he was playing with more.
and it was Callahan, right?
I think it was, yeah.
I would,
Yeah,
but
I
I
know
would.
it was Callahan. I don't know if it was Callahan right before, but
I
so
think
he's had one or two.
I don't think honestly. I don't think the little boy can coach him. I mean,
I don't like him. We've argued about his play calling often.
They were peers. He was actually backing Dak up, and then all of a sudden he became Dak's coach.
Let me ask you
And
this:
yeah,
Leftwich is out there. Do you think you'd take him? Tom Brady loved him.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Leftwich. Maybe. Um, I don't really know. I feel like most of the good offensive coordinators are good offensive coordinators because they have good head coaches. And so I don't
So
know.
your one move is going to be to get rid of our offensive coordinator and keep our head coach.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan, but like coaches to me are like quarterbacks. Head coaches are like quarterbacks. It's fun to say let's get rid of our quarterback, but then who do you replace him with? Like if we got rid of Dak tomorrow, who do we replace him with? Tom Brady?
I wouldn't get you can't yeah, you're not going to get rid of that. Like I don't that's my whole point with
Oh,
Dak. We
right.
can argue about it all we want, but there's
But who are they replacing
we're
him?
going to well, I got an idea. We'll just take
Gardner
the
Minshew?
last draft and we'll use Mr. Irrelevant and
Yeah.
instantly he's going to be the
Yeah.
guy. Cuz that's
So
how easy it is.
yeah. So quarterback there's basically 2 or 3 quarterbacks who actually matter. Like there's 2 or 3 quarterbacks who I believe could take a bad team and make them good. I think Patrick Mahomes, if you put him on almost any team in the NFL, they would make the playoffs. I think if you put Joe Burrow on almost any team in the NFL, they would instantly turn around. I don't know beyond that. Maybe Justin Herbert can do it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know about Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I don't either. And I don't know about Trevor Lawrence. I don't. But anyway, I think coaches are kind of the same way. There's a couple head coaches out there who can turn your team around. I don't think Sean Payton's one of them. I think Kyle Shanahan is. I think you get Kyle Shanahan, your team's different.
So you brought up you sent me that clip of McDaniel.
Yeah.
So
That's who I want as our offensive
You
coordinator.
know he was being funny in that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
literally went up to Justin Fields and asked him to stop scrambling, and then he went on to say he wouldn't listen. He's not coachable.
He doesn't take coaching.
Yeah, he doesn't
Yeah.
take coaching. I just hope people behind me learn
Yeah.
from my mistakes. Like I thought this would work. I just thought maybe nobody had asked him. Like I thought it was funny.
He also said, did you hear him when he's talking and then he's like, they asked him a question and he's talking, and then he goes, "This just in. No one's believed in me my entire life." And that was like the end. It was like,
I like him. I like him as a person. Like I could hang out with that guy and he might drive me nuts after a half an hour because it's just such a weird, dry sense of humor. But like,
my son sent me like a little clip of him dancing with the players when the music was playing, like during practice. And they're like, Mike McDaniels is like the guy who got to lead after his dad is on vacation and he gets put in charge of the company. That's what he's like.
So we did take some. I've got our results here of our other games. Obviously, we lost the Cowboys game. Yeah.
Let's go.
So we had Jacksonville, Kansas City. We both picked Kansas City. That was my lock. And we took the over.
Point apiece.
What's that?
That's a point apiece.
What was the score of that game? I didn't even look up scores.
I don't know.
53 was the over-under. I believe they were over. Pull up the scores while you're looking at that. New York Giants and the Eagles. I picked the Giants. You picked the Eagles. I think I deserve at least a half a point for that.
Why?
Because I was consistent all year, where you just refused to believe in the Eagles until this very game where you thought they'd win. I was consistent all year long. I said that the Eagles were a decent team, and you didn't. So they won, and they're in the championship game. So I think I deserve a half point. I know I'm not getting it. I just wanted to point that out.
Let's go back to the Jaguars Chiefs. What was the over-under?
53.
Under.
We both picked the under. We both picked the over-unders on all of them. The unders for the rest of the games, too. New York Giants, Eagles, 48 was the over-under.
45 was the total points.
We both picked the over for that. Cincinnati, Buffalo. I picked Cincy. You picked Buffalo.
37.
48 was the over-under. We picked the over. Dallas, San Francisco was definitely under. What was it, 31? It was a 46 over-under. We both picked Dallas. So, yeah.
What was my lock?
Your lock was the Eagles. Because you believed in them.
Good lock.
Because you
believed. That was a good lock. I feel like I get a point for that one because not only did they win, they won huge. And you picked the other team to lose. We both picked the same team on the one you locked. So, okay, yeah, obviously that's going to be the lock.
Wait a minute.
But then I went against you.
Would you rather be right consistently or just once? Consistently or just once? All year you said they're a terrible team. Now there's superheroes in your mind. You are probably getting yourself a Jalen Hurts jersey. I guarantee you've got that on order. It's just delayed in shipping. You were probably going to wear it to this podcast.
The Giants, I've said all year, the second biggest fraud in the NFL. The biggest fraud was who? The Minnesota Vikings. The second biggest fraud was the Giants, and we saw that. That doesn't mean the Eagles are good. That means that they pounded a fraudulent team. And head-to-head, I picked the Eagles, who you gave up on. You gave up on them. I picked them. Boom, 2 points.
I don't know how I do this. I show up and do this every week, only to not be awarded points for good work, hard work, organizing, setup, nothing. You get points.
You got a point
for just smoking a cigar.
I get points for
smoking my cigar.
Right. I get points for being right.
You get points for hedging bets. All right. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco. We both picked the Cowboys. We both lost. What was your You had something about 75 yards in your Seeing Stars.
I thought that was you saying
No, I
Zeke
said Zeke would
for
have
75 yards.
Oh yeah. I said Zeke would have 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Clearly I was wrong. What was yours again? A
I
tight
have
end
no idea.
catches. No. Oh, we did say tight ends catch short of the sticks on third down, and I didn't even keep track of that. What was yours? Man, I can't remember yours either. Man, what
It
a
was good.
terrible
It
job.
probably came. It probably came true. I think it was Dak's going to throw 2 picks.
No, it wasn't, because you called for Dak to throw one.
Oh, you said how many?
I didn't actually in the podcast
Zero.
say any.
Zero.
I didn't say
Zero.
anything in the podcast. I didn't even touch on picks in the podcast. Um, yeah, it's it was a bad game altogether. Um,
Yeah.
I wish we
So we
had
gonna
done better.
can we give our power rankings since
There's four
power rankings and
teams.
pick next week's game? I know. I saw power rankings.
That's fine. Go ahead. I'm gonna say Cincy, San Fran, Kansas City. Top to
Oh,
bottom.
you're leaving the Eagles. You're leaving the Eagles out.
Yep.
I'm gonna go San Francisco 1. I'm gonna go
Kansas City 2.
Kansas City 2.
And I'm gonna go Cincy 3.
Cincinnati 3.
All right. So San Fran is going to Philly in the early game, I believe. So
It is.
San Fran at Philly. Jonathan, you pick.
Philly.
You're gonna pick Philly. I'm gonna pick San Fran. Wait a minute, you're picking Philly and they're not even in your power rankings.
No, I don't think they're that good of a team that they'll beat San Francisco because San Francisco's offense isn't that good and Philadelphia has a decent.
Cincy is going to Kansas City, which I think is also a joke. I'm going Cincy.
I mean, I kind of feel like I have to because I don't know what's going on with Patrick Mahomes. If he were whole, I would.
You're leaving your best friend, your favorite quarterback, your favorite teammate. You're
If he were whole, I would take
so number
a
one and number
landslide.
two in your power rankings, you are
A landslide.
done with.
So I'm going to take the Bengals.
Wow. I'm disappointed in you. Your number one and number two power ranking picks are not your picks for wins. All right. So we've got basically, I've got two upsets. You've got one. You're probably right with Philly. I I don't know. I'm not a. I'm sure I'm doing
Two.
that one more with my heart than I am with anything else. But is what it is.
And your heart bleeds crimson and gold.
No,
Oh,
no, my heart just bleeds right now. Just
yeah.
bleeding. So yeah. All right. So we've got some things coming up, right? We've
Yeah.
got 4K Media. 4K. Wow. 4 Wins
I don't
Media.
know.
4 Wins Media. Website's up.
Website's up.
We're looking
Yep.
at 2 new podcasts coming out soon. One
Yep.
looking at Formula One,
Formula One.
following number 4 car, which is
Yep. Exactly.
who drives the number 4
Lando
car?
Norris from McLaren. Lando Norris from McLaren.
All right.
But I am providing a little room for someone else to win my heart during the Formula One season. But yeah, at the beginning for sure, Lando Norris, Formula One,
And that
McLaren.
ties into our whole 4 theme.
There you go.
And then
Yep.
we've got, as far as everything else goes, we've got our Learning for Wins. Learning for Wins will be a podcast basically about learning about American football for those in Europe who want to learn, and for any people that are new coming
No
into
other,
football.
no other, no other, no other continents, right, Craig? We're drawing the line at Europe.
Europe, that's it.
Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
yeah.
No African.
I
Nobody from Africa
I
can
actually
learn
want
about
to say
American
Western
football.
only too.
What about Asia? Can Asians learn about American football?
I'm saying Western Europe only. No Canadians.
What about Pacific Islanders?
If you no, is that in
Oceania.
Europe? Is that in Europe? Australia? Not in
Okay,
Europe, is it?
that's pretty
I am
biased of
very
you. And you're
specific.
probably
I
I
am
could
very
see you being the kind
specific.
of guy that's like, we're just gonna do the Scandinavian countries. I could
Oh,
see that
that's not
coming
bad.
from
I
you.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that. The reason
What
I
about
say
women?
Europe,
Can women learn on our
are there
channel?
women in Europe? Are there women in Europe?
Yes, there are.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you've answered your own question. The reason I say Europe is because that is there's more and more games being sent out to Europe than anywhere else. Am I wrong?
Correct.
Okay, that's why I say Europe.
You are not.
I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
No, and
It's not often you say
it's
that.
not just Europe,
I should get a
but
point for that.
it's not just Europe, but it is the fact that we want to use some of our knowledge of European things to make the conversion to American football much smoother and easier.
Exactly. And we're ready for it. We're ready for the challenge. So if you go to our website, 4Wins Media, 4Wins.media,
4wins.media. Yeah.
you can find our other channels coming soon on there.
Number
Right
4.
now, just this one's on there. The number 4. Number
Number
4 wins. WINS. .media. All right, folks. Thank you very much. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Jonathan, it's been a good season. We'll talk next week. We'll do this again. There's only one going per week from this point forward, so thank you all again. Take care.